Hello guys, my name is Evans and welcome to this video tutorial. In this tutorial I'm going to continue looking at the 2017 May-June IGCSE ICT paper 3-1. In the last video we ended on step number 4 and in this video we continue with step number 5. Okay, so step number 5 says create a web page called 1731links.htm. This web page must work in all browsers and will have a suitable structure with visible borders and grid lines as shown below. So text shown in bold must be entered onto your web page, and the text that is in italics, these are just instructions that you must do. You're going to replace the text in the chevrons with answers, images, or candidate details as instructed. Okay, so this is the table structure that we are supposed to actually create, and so the text that is in bold, we are instructed to type it as it is in the table that we're going to create, and the text that is actually in chevrons, we're supposed to um, um, answer questions that or instructions, respond to instructions that we are going to be told at any particular question. Okay, um, so what we're going to do is to go ahead and open our front page. Now you guys have been asking me over and over to do some papers in Dreamweaver or Microsoft Expression because some of you are not using front page in your school. But I must say that the skills that I mean, whether I'm using Dreamweaver or I'm using Expression, it doesn't matter really. I've seen Dreamweaver, I've seen Expression. The concept really that I'm doing is the same. Once you get the concept, you can translate that to work whether for Dreamweaver or you can work it in Expression, you can work it in Composer. It doesn't matter really, guys. Please don't stress yourself, especially that you are just going to write your exams in the next few days or so. I mean, it doesn't matter that I'm using front page right now, okay? Um, what matters is if you can get the concept of what I'm trying to do as I'm solving any particular question, then I mean you can translate that to suit even whether it's Dreamweaver you're coding with, or whether it's Composer or it's Expression, whatever you're using to write your code. Okay, so please don't feel like one-sided, and or please understand that these skills are actually transferable. Okay, so let's go ahead and create a blank web page. Okay, and I'm going to save this web page in my work area. Okay, so um, so I'm going to put it in June paper 3-1, and inside this folder, that's where I'm going to drop it. So the name of this file is actually supposed to be 171731links.htm. So I'm just going to copy this and paste it here. Okay, and save it here. All right, there you go. um, so this web page must work in all browsers and will have a stable structure with visible borders and grid lines as shown. Okay, so the borders and the internal grid lines should be shown or should be as they are shown. Okay, so let's create a table with this structure. Mind you, we have a table which has got 3 columns. Okay, so you count the most number of columns and the most number of rows, and that's how you're going to know the overall table structure in terms of the dimensions, not the dimensions, but in terms of the number of rows and number of columns that you have in your table. So for the number of columns, the most number of columns we have is 3, and for the number of rows, the most number of rows we have is 4. Okay, so this is actually 4 by 3 table. Okay, so let's go and create a table. So insert a table. We have 4 rows and we have 3 columns. Other than that, this table should have a visible border. Okay, we have not been told about the exact width. So in terms of the width for the table, let's just wait. Okay, so we're going to do some of the changes later on, but in terms of other features, the borders must be there. And we are also not told that this table should be center aligned. Okay, so right in step 5 we do not have further instructions to tell us to modify this table. Okay, but you do wait, because you could have some properties in your style sheet that you can use to modify your table. But for now, let's just stick with what we have. Okay, the cells padding and cell spacing, don't worry about this, just leave them as they are. So go on and say okay, and you do have a table which is of this nature. So let's go ahead and merge some of the fields, the cells, so that the table actually looks like this. So all the cells in the top row are merged, and all the cells in the second row, but in the first column from the second row going down, all of them are merged. And then also the cells in the last row, in the last row except the first column, they are all merged, these ones here. Okay, so we have this one and this one here, and then also this one. Okay, so let's go ahead and create a table structure of that type. So merge these cells above, so go and say merge cells, merge these cells also, and merge these cells. Okay, so we have our cells merged. That should be fine. Now what we need to do is we need to type the text that is in bold, and we need to enter it as it is. So the text is this one, so I'm just going to copy this one using hyperlinks. So I'm just coming here and paste it here using hyperlinks. Okay, and then we have this other text. Okay, the function of a hyperlink, so I'm going to paste it here. Now I'm going to delete the extra space that is down there, so it will be something like that, the function of a hyperlink. Next we should have text when used with a website, absolute and relative file path can be explained as. Okay, just copy this, come here, and this is going to be pasted here. Okay, just delete the extra space. Also website created by, I'm going to get this, copy it and paste it here. Next I'm going to I think the text in bold is done. The next things we're supposed to do is to set the styles for this text. So this text, we're supposed to set it to style H1. So let's go ahead and set this text to style H1. Just select it and set it as H1. Next, this text set it as H3. This text, and this text, set them as H3. So get this text, set it as H3, set this text also as H3, and also set this text as H3. Okay, next, the next thing that we're supposed to do is to place image saved in step number 2. So if we go back to step number 2, the image that we saved was 1731 sun3.png. So let's go ahead and insert that image here. So go to insert picture, and then look for sun3 is this image. Okay, so browse to the location where your files are. Okay, so open, and let's go to where the files are, and sun3 is this image. Okay, so I didn't even use okay, so we're supposed to go here, then get this one, and 3 is this one. So the image has been inserted. Okay, next thing we're supposed to, please don't worry about the spaces that have been created when this image is actually being inserted and all. Don't worry about that. That will be sorted out later when we deal with the layout of this web page. But for now, just keep on answering the questions as they are asked of you. Next, we are supposed to add an appropriate alternative text to this image. Okay, so I don't know whether this is a logo or something, but the way you add an alternative text, just go to the properties of this image. Under general, select text, and then it says alternative representation. So under text, please just write something, image of maybe company logo or something. So just say okay. Next step, we are supposed to answer now these questions that are here. So enter your answers to question 6. So what does question 6 say? Replace the text, enter your answer to question 6 here with a description in your own words of the functions of a hyperlink, okay? And set this to style h2. Okay, so let's go ahead and type in here the functions of a hyperlink. Okay, so really a hyperlink is used to connect or link one page to another. So if you're talking about an external web page or an external hyperlink or link, you're saying this link is actually linking one web page to another web page. It could be the web page could exist in another website, or it can exist in another web page. But also you could have internal hyperlinks where you are linking within the same documents, and usually you guys you call these as anchors and stuff like that, where you can click on a link and it takes you to the top of the page or it takes you to the bottom of the page, depending on how you design that. Okay, so let's define a hyperlink. So a hyperlink is used to link a page or link one page. Let's say link one web page to another. For example, an external hyperlink can link let's say one web page or a web page from one website to a web page from one website linked to another web page of another website. Okay, so an external hyperlink can link a web page from one website to another web page, or to a web page in another website, to a web page in another website. Okay, an internal hyperlink can link sections of the same web page. Okay, so really this is just that. So set this as style h3 or h2. Okay, set this as style h2 as instructed by the question. Okay, so next step, enter your answers to question 7 here. Now go to question 7. Question 7 says replace the text, enter your answers to question 7 here with a bulleted list in your own words of 3 or more items explaining the terms relative file path and absolute file path. Okay, and you're going to format this as style. Well, this one hasn't been so it's just going to be set as bulleted list with square bullets. Okay, so we are not told actually to put this one as in style. Okay, so now we need to explain the difference between relative file path and absolute file path. So I'm going to just go here so that I make you guys understand better what I'm talking about. Okay, so a relative file path really, guys, refers to a file that is defined, rather a file that is I'm thinking about. Let me start with absolute file path. Okay, with absolute file path, you are talking about a file that is defined in a fixed storage or memory location. Okay, so for example, if you talk about this file, sun 1731 sun, there it has got a fixed storage location, which is this one. Okay, so it is in drive D, in a folder called tutorials, and in a folder called May June 2017 P3 0417 underscore SF, and so on and so forth. And then finally it is in a folder called HTM 1731. So this file is actually in it's has got an absolute file path. So if I wanted to get to this file, I would actually get this address and point to it, and then at the end there I would just put slash there and get the file name. Okay, like get the file name like that, and this is why now I can access this file and open it. Okay, whereas this is with absolute file path. Okay, so you have a fixed memory location where the file is actually stored. Okay, but with relative file path, you do not have a fixed location where the file is stored. Okay, the file actually exists within the current folder where it is defined. Okay, so for example, if I'm accessing a picture, and I just specify the picture name that I want in my HTML code without specifying the path, like drive D, then this folder and that folder, then that file I'm accessing it relatively. Okay, it is relative, especially if the web page that I'm creating actually is located in the same in the same folder. For example, you have this image here, okay, that you have created. If I go to the code of this image, you see that under this one it just says source, that is image source, is 1731 sans.png. You do not see that this image is actually existing in drive D, then tutorials and the like here. It is just showing you the name of the image. Okay, so this is what is referred to as relative referencing. So which means I have picked up this image relative to the place where it is stored. Okay, it is in the current folder where this HTML web page is actually existing. Okay, but if this image was in my document and I wanted it to exist on this web page, then I should put an absolute file path to say that it is coming from drive D in documents, and then slash maybe pictures and slash personal slash Evans Chikasa slash then the name of this this image. Okay, so this is the difference between file path, relative file path, and absolute file path. So let's go ahead and type in some of the few things that we've described here. Let's go to design and let's talk about here. So let's start with absolute file path. So absolute file path refers to, okay, so absolute file path refers to the path that points to a specific memory location, okay, to a specific memory location on a storage device. Now the storage device, guys, can be the hard disk, can be a flash disk and the like. Okay, so on a storage device or the storage location. Okay, so for example, an image file located in let's say on located on the desktop. Okay, on the desktop, it such as let's say drive C, and then you have let's say users, let's say this user is let's say Evans, then we access his desktop, and then the image file is actually flowers.jpg. okay, so that is absolute file path. Relative file path on the other hand refers to, okay, so relative file path on the other hand refers to, okay, the file path pointing to the current folder or work area, if you want. So the current folder. Okay, so that is relative file path. Now the difference that you find between these two is that if you uploaded for example a file if you uploaded a file on a server and it has got relative file path, okay, so let me just say with relative file path, a file uploaded on the server will be easily accessible because the file structure, okay, the file structure is maintained, okay, is maintained. Now what this means is that the folder that contains your website will also contain images, and because you copy that folder and you upload, because when you upload a website to a web server, you are actually uploading a folder which contains web pages and files and related files and the like. Okay, so the pictures will go together with the folder which contains everything, so that is relative. Okay, so it can sit on any server, the file is still going to be accessed. But with absolute file path, let's say with absolute file path, a file uploaded on the server will not be loaded, especially if the file hierarchy or file structure or the structure or the hierarchy of the files is not maintained. Okay, so you find that somebody doesn't use drive D, maybe they use drive F, and drive D doesn't exist on that computer. So if you had, for example, such as something like drive C, and you had this, and then somebody maybe they load the operating system from drive D, then this is going to cause conflict because drive C on the server maybe doesn't exist. Okay, so this is why we're saying that absolute file path will actually cause a problem if you try to upload that. So most websites actually, when they upload it on the server, you don't use absolute file path, you actually use relative file path, because you just upload the the folder and everything goes in there. So now this is supposed to be formatted as bullet point, so let me just put that so that we have 4 points. Okay, so I'm going to set this as square bullets. Okay, so you need to go to bullets. Okay, now we need to define our bullets. So let me see if I can get some definition for some of these bullets. Let's see, close. We need to have, let's see, we're told that we should use square bullets. Now I don't know if, because the bullets that I have here are actually round bullets, I don't know if I will be asked to do square bullets in the style sheets. It's possible. I'm trying to see if I can find some place here where I can format my bullets. Nevertheless, let's see, bullets and numbering, and then let's select these square bullets. Okay, okay, so there you go with square bullets. Okay, the next thing that I'm supposed to do is actually to put this name, center number, and candidate number. Okay, so created by Chikasa Evans, ZM556 and 0001. Okay, right, so I don't know if there's anything else that we're supposed to do. Let's come back here. So we have represented this actually according to the question. Just go through, you guys, and make sure that you have answered every aspect of the question. So this is 17 marks just for doing this. And then you have we've done question 6 and we've done question 7. And now what we just need to do is to attach the style sheet tab 1731.css to web page. So go ahead and go to format, and then style sheet links, and then add and then look at the style that you want. Is the style sheet is this one. Okay, so just say okay and okay, and there you go. That looks very good. Okay. um, so the next thing that we are supposed to do, um, according to this, is, I think this is done, unless otherwise I've skipped some section. I'm happy to do step number 9 in the next video. For now, I think I'll end here so that this video is not too long. Okay, so thank you so much, guys, for watching this video, and I encourage you to like, subscribe to my channel, comment, and share this video with others. And I'll see you shortly in the next video.